Hey guys, I'm making this video because I finally figured out how to change my guitar presets from my pedal board using MIDI in FLstudio. There are other videos explaining how to do this in other softwares, but I haven't found any explaining how to do this in FLstudio. In my current setup, I'm using a Pod HD500X, but I'm sure you can do these same steps using another pedal board which has MIDI input functionalities. And I'm using FLstudio 2024, but I think you can do this in any other FLstudio versions. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, stick around because I'm going to explain what I'm trying to achieve and what I think I have achieved. For those who already know how it works, skip to this timestamp and I'm just gonna show you how to set it up. So the idea is this: I'm in a live scenario, I am using a backing track with a click and with other instruments, and I want my guitar presets to change automatically without me going and using my foot to change effects. And because I'm using a click, I know that the preset can change at that exact moment in the song because I'm playing the right notes in the song. Most pedal boards nowadays, even though this is pretty old, so probably it's been a while since this feature is enabled, have a MIDI input which can take MIDI information from a software to swap between presets. FLstudio has these features and my pedal board has no problem accepting them. It's just that it's not so clear how to set it up at first, but I found a way which is foolproof and it's really simple and it's export compatible. So the final idea for me would be to export this MIDI file, import it on the iPad where I have a MIDI player or a Cubassist, and use this setup but with my iPad. Also, bonus tip, I'm using a wireless system that I got from AliExpress, and it's this. It's called wireless MIDI adapter. This is not sponsored, I bought it myself and it actually arrived like 2 days ago, so I'm just trying it out. But if I show you, basically it's these two dongles here. One is for output and the other one is for input. As you can see, I don't need the output because I just want to receive information from the computer to the pedal board. If you wanted to export information, MIDI information from the pedal board to the computer, you could also plug in this. I think I can just plug it in and nothing's going to happen, to be honest, but it's just I didn't need it, so I didn't plug it in. And also, in order to use it with my computer, I needed this dongle that they provide. It's probably just a Bluetooth dongle. And the setup is super simple. Like, you plug this in, you plug this in, and it just works. You only need to make sure that it shows up in the MIDI devices in FLstudio. I'm gonna show you how to do that in a second. And to prove that this is working, I have something just set up on the computer. I'm gonna press play. And as you can see, it goes A, B, C, and D, and so on. And I didn't touch the pedal board. And of course, you can recreate this exact same effect with a cable instead of this wireless setup. Although this was just 15 euros on AliExpress, but you can use something like this, just a standard MIDI cable. Just make sure that it has, like, you know, the connection you need. On more modern pedal boards, you maybe don't have the 5-pin MIDI cable, but you probably just have a USB. And as long as you see the USB MIDI input or output on your software, you're gonna be fine. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Basically, you go to Options, MIDI Settings, and you need to make sure that your device is visible in this top section. In my case, I know it is MIDI port, the MIDI hardware port, because I checked it before. And you need to assign a number to this MIDI port. Make sure it's not a number that it's used anywhere else in the file. So in this case, I just assigned a random number of 20. Then what you need to do is to go on your channel rack and add a MIDI out. Okay, so you're gonna have your MIDI out. First thing first, make sure that the port is the same as you set it up. So in my case, it's gonna be 20. And then to check if this is working, because it could be already working, you just need to select a patch from up here. So if I select, I don't know, 10C, and I put this on the playlist here, and if I move my cursor here just to make sure, I would see on my pedal board that it actually switched to 10C. Let me show you. So you see it's on 10C. If I change this and if I go like, I don't know, 10B, it changed. And if I go to 10A, it's changed again. You see? It's just gonna keep changing. Okay, so we see that it's working now. This was not the hard part for me. Also, you're not gonna have the same list number here. You're probably gonna have a bunch of random names like acoustic, grand piano, and stuff like that. You're gonna have this list, I'm pretty sure. To change this, you need to go to this location, the image line FLstudio, I mean, wherever you have your FLstudio plugins installed. You find the generators MIDI out data folder, and inside that you're gonna have some text files. It's basically what's listed in this patch slot. So you open the file called GM instruments and you're gonna have this. What you wanna do is basically change the names of these settings to match the ones you have on your pedal boards. It's not necessary that you do that, it's gonna work either way. For me, it was simpler to have the same name that was showing on the pedal board in FLstudio, so it was simple for me to understand what was going on. And what I did was basically asking ChatGPT to change this whole list into this list. So I was like, can you make a new list called 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2A, 2B, 2C, and so on, instead of this list, and it just did it pretty much. So once you have that, you're gonna save it on your desktop, and then move it into this folder, and make sure that it has the same name as it had before. In my case, I created this old _ GM instruments to keep the old file in case I needed it, but it has to have the same name as it had before, because otherwise FLstudio is not gonna recognize it as the proper list. So once you have that, you need to restart the software, and you're gonna have something like the one I have here. Now what? Basically, the hard part is to change the patch in the correct moment of the song. So for good measure, I'm just gonna import a song, which I'm probably not going to play for copyright reasons. Let me see. Yes, it doesn't matter. Like, this song, it's just for you to know where the preset changes are happening. If you have the backing track you want to sync this up to, of course, use the backing track as your reference song. So the next step is to create as many patterns as the number of presets you want to change in the song. So let's say we are going to use 4 presets in the song, maybe 5. So let's create 5 patterns. If you already know which ones you're gonna use, I suggest you name the pattern the same name as the preset of your pedal board. So I'm gonna press a plus, and then we'll go 1A plus 1B and so on, 1C, 1D, 2A. Okay, so these are my 5 patterns. Now what I have to do is to make sure that each MIDI out for each pattern is linked to the correct patch. So if I go with the pattern 1A, I need to make sure that the MIDI out is pointing to patch 1A. How to do that? We click on the pattern, we click on MIDI out, and we select 1A. Once you did that, this is not gonna be enough, because if you click on another pattern, the way FLstudio works is that this MIDI out thingy is just going to be the same across all the patterns. So we need to do something like this. You need to right click on the patch and do edit events. And here, if I switch from the brush to the pencil, you can see that if you draw a line, if you look up here on the top left, you change the preset. You see, it says 9A, 9, and so on. So you need to draw the line in a way that selects your preset. So when you see on your top left corner the name of your preset, it means that the line is in the proper spot. If this is too difficult to see, you can also do this. You go to View, Toolbars, and Hint Bar, and then you move this maybe like somewhere here, and you can see what's going on, even if you have longer names. So let's say this is my preset 1A, so I put the line on preset 1A. If you do here detached, then you can just select the 1B pattern and put the line on the 1B. Then you select the 1C and put the line on the 1C, and so on, 1D and 2A. So now you can see that if I start dragging these presets around, maybe I make them shorter so the change is more obvious. Okay, if I go here and press play, you can see 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. And you can also see it on the pedal board. You see how the bottom row of lights is changing? So the cool thing is that if you create this file and you use it as a template, you can basically create all these patterns linked to all the presets you want to use in your live, and then just swap the backing track and make new arrangements of effects. So this is how it's gonna work. Basically, you want the preset 1A to start in this part of the song, you drag it here, and then you want it to switch to 1B in this section of the song, and then you want to go to 1D, quickly back to 1A, and so on and so forth. And now this is going to sync with your song. So once you press play, the MIDI change triggers the pedal board to switch to this preset, and then once it reaches another preset, it's gonna switch to the other one. So it doesn't even need to be all the way to the next one. And then most importantly is that because we use this edit events thing, we can export this to be opened in other softwares. So let me show you how to do that. Basically what I do is this. I'm gonna make a shorter example just to make sure it works. You can see here already it shows the automation we created. Let me turn off the song, and what we have to do is to select this and go File, Export, MIDI file. I'm just gonna overwrite this file over here. I turned on all of these options because I'm not entirely sure where this information is saved, and I'm just gonna make sure that I save everything. And I start. It's just gonna do it really quickly. To make sure it worked, let's do this. File, import MIDI file, select the file. Make sure Start New Project is not checked, otherwise you're gonna overwrite this file. And channel type, put it to MIDI out. I'm just gonna leave this to all tracks just to make sure again. Accept. And I now have this, which I already can see it has the automation included, so it should probably work. I'm gonna press space to play the song, and as I can see, my pedal board is not doing anything. And it's probably not doing anything because the MIDI out doesn't have the assigned port. So if I now put it back to 20, and if I press play, yes, I can see that now it's working as intended. So the idea here is that now that I have this file, I can probably open it on my iPad or on my phone even, in something that can play MIDI files and send MIDI control informations. So yeah, that's it. That's how you do this in FLstudio. And as I said again, once you have this template for all your effects, you don't need to do any of this again anytime, because you just import your track and you say, oh yeah, here I use this distortion and here I use this clean tone and blah blah blah, and you export. So this routing thing and creating the pattern, it's only a one-time thing. Yeah, okay, thanks for watching. I don't usually make this kind of videos. I don't usually make videos in English even. But yeah, if you like this, maybe like. I'm not gonna tell you to subscribe because I don't know if I'm gonna make any more of these videos. But I think there's no one out there showing how to do this in FLstudio. So I struggled for a long time to try to achieve this, and I finally did it, so I wanted to share with you all how it's done and that it's actually doable, because I was so desperate that I asked ChatGPT for some info on this, and it even said, yeah, FLstudio is not really meant for this, but like this is super simple. and it works. Like, what are you saying? Okay, so cheers, have fun playing.